Hey, this is Dr. Clark again on behalf of Richie Pereira and Mental Health and Life. Today we're going to talk about something that sounds blunt but could be life-changing. Get off the drink and drugs. Now that doesn't just mean alcohol and illegal drugs. We also need to talk honestly about prescription medications because all of these affect not only the brain but the gut. And when the gut is damaged, your mental health pays the price. Let's start with alcohol. In 2023, the UK recorded more than 10,400 alcohol-related deaths, the highest on record. And we know alcohol use disorder goes hand in hand with depression and anxiety. Biologically, alcohol is toxic to the gut. It disrupts the microbiome, increases gut permeability, what's often called leaky gut, and drives inflammation. That inflammation then feeds into the brain through the gut-brain axis, affecting mood, energy, and behavior. So while alcohol may feel like a short-term stress reliever, in reality, it destabilizes the very systems that keep us mentally well. Now, let's talk about recreational drugs. Stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine don't just give you a high, they can trigger psychosis and over time, seriously damage the gut and the brain. High-potency cannabis, which is widely available today, has been linked with a higher risk of first episode psychosis. And while many people see cannabis as harmless, the data shows a different story when the dose and strength climb. Even MDMA or ecstasy, when used heavily, can leave people with anxiety, poor sleep, and memory problems long after the drug has worn off. And across the board, these drugs shift the balance of the gut microbiome and fuel inflammation, the same biological fire that keeps depression and anxiety alive. Now, this is the complex one: prescription drugs. Antidepressants can be life-saving. For many, they're the bridge back to stability. But the UK now has around 1 in 6 adults on antidepressants, and a huge proportion of those are long-term users, often without regular review. Here's what we know from research: antidepressants can alter the gut microbiome and come with side effects like emotional blunting and withdrawal. In people with bipolar disorder, some antidepressants can trigger mania or hypomania, which is why they're not advised as a standalone treatment. Antipsychotics help with psychosis, but they often cause weight gain, insulin resistance, and fatigue, which in turn worsen mood and overall health. Benzodiazepines are useful short-term, but long-term use brings dependence and withdrawal problems. Opioids, whether prescribed or misused, directly disrupt the gut, reducing protective metabolites, increasing inflammation, and feeding back into poor mood and low energy. So yes, medication can be vital, but long-term dependence without addressing the basics can create new problems as it solves old ones. So what's the takeaway? Whether it's alcohol, recreational drugs, or pharmaceuticals, these substances all interact with the gut-brain axis. They damage the microbiome, increase inflammation, and make it harder for your brain to regulate mood and behavior. And if the gut is inflamed and out of balance, no pill or therapy can work the way it should. That's why, alongside professional care, the foundations matter. Cut back on alcohol and recreational drugs. Use medication responsibly, with clinical guidance. Support your gut with good food, sleep, movement, and connection, because food, rest, and reducing toxic load aren't optional extras. They're the roots of mental health. This is Dr. Clark on behalf of Richie Pereira and Mental Health and Life. If you want your mental health to thrive, don't just think about the brain. Think about the gut and think about what you're putting into it. Until next time, stay well.